Auntie, I've finished sorting. Who are you?
Okay, we're back again with our life. This is honestly so embarrassing. Okay, so I hopefully fixed my mic. I guess it wasn't registering my mic as my mic. I would be humiliated if that was the case because everything else was registering it as my mic. But oh wow. Anyways, last time I did this, so a brief explanation. I had recorded this morning a whole, me reading one of these scenarios. The audio did not register at all for me speaking and just muted completely when it converted. So, we're gonna hope that doesn't happen now that I fixed my mic, but it kind of looks like, at least in OBS, I don't know, my mic kind of looks like it connected a bit more and it's not blurred or anything. I don't know, I feel like it's actually gonna work now. I feel like it's actually gonna work. So, I will not be reading Grown Up all over again. I'm not gonna be reading that all over again. I can't even access it anymore. I'm sorry. The game is free on itch.io if you would like to play these, and it's also on Steam, and there's a bunch of DLC, and it's really good, so I'm pretty sure it works on mobile devices like Android and tablet and stuff I'm pretty sure it works on those. Let's go Sandcastle. Cove wasn't able to do many things that summer. When him, and Shiloh sat out on the shoreline one bright morning, you could tell all he wanted to be in the water. But there was no way he'd be swimming anytime soon, not with his cast. The waves washed along a shell to the shore, glittering and blue. Another reminder of places he couldn't go. From what you'd heard about Cove's old life so far, tiny pieces and fragments, you could tell he'd do anything to be able to get the cast off. Apparently he's a really active guy. The possibilities of what he might get up to made you anxious. You thought about his summer last year. It must have been totally different from this, with his old home and his mom and dad. And the fact that in the lore of this game, oh my god, I'm gonna get to spoilers. Cove was a teen pregnancy. That's why his parents don't like each other. But now he was here with you and Shiloh and Lizzie and everyone else. He couldn't even go in the sea. This town wasn't bad. It had all your favorite things in it, but sitting there on the same beach you'd grown up on your life, you could understand that not every bit of us felt the same about Sunset Bird as you did. I am having a stumble on my words kind of day. I was somehow doing a lot better this morning and I was tired. But that audio will never be heard. No one will ever know that happened. Ugh, look, it's the fucking parasite. Look, it's the parasite. It's the worm. The worm dares to stand next to our boy. You watched him from the corner of your eye, quietly, and he finally said aloud what you had been pondering. I wish I could go in. The water? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You're gonna be able to do it soon. Shiloh, you don't know anything about him, okay? He could be allergic to water. Cove only sighed in response. Apparently soon wasn't soon enough. It's so pretty, the ocean. Shiloh trying to fit in with the weird kids. And huge. There could be anything out there, like mermaids. Yeah! Shiloh says, yeah! I wish you didn't have a cast. Me too. Obviously not interested in hearing much more of your input on the situation, Cove turned back to the water. But as he looked away, something about Shiloh's slow, careful movements caught his eye. Hey, are you building a sandcastle?
Um,
Sort of. I was only playing around while you were talking. I'm listening. Maybe I could too. I've only made big piles before. It's really nothing special. I'm sure you'll be good at it right away. What in the Nejlibon? What in the Nejlibon? Oh my god, I know this disdain for him now. I actually like Nej, but... No, I know the disdain. Oh, he's giving Royal Sword Academy. He's giving Dwarves Royal Sword Academy. I don't know if anyone else knows Royal Sword Academy, but he's kind of giving Dwarves Royal Sword Academy. Well, how do you do it then? Shiloh's cheeks lit up. Ew. That's nasty. Not even his eyes dimmed. Ew. Ew. You could tell he was a little bit uncomfortable to have Cove's expectant stare on him. You know what? Shiloh was so... that was such a nasty sentence to read. It messed me up. Ugh. I'll play too. There's nothing else to do. I don't love sand. Okay, I'm the most annoying character in the game. He put his hands back to his seashells and nodded. I don't do a lot. Here's how I like to get a house started. Shiloh, focusing more intently than you'd ever seen him, guided Cove through his process. You happily used your own method. It didn't take long for the three of you to have each of your own humble structures. That's all, kind of. You can do anything now, like make it bigger, add some seashells, carve a pretty pattern. I bet you have great ideas.
Okay.
I'm gonna make it bigger. Mine is gonna be a real castle. For a mermaid. Cool. This is gonna be a house. Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decide to make... We're gonna go for a haunted castle. I would go mansion, but I'm not into mansions. We're going for a castle. It's going to be haunted by a hideous sea hag, and she's going to keep her remains of dead fish in there. Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decide to build a fancy castle. The better of the hour was spent focusing on your work. The boys were the same. Even Shiloh didn't sneak as many peeks as everyone else as he usually did, because he's a dirty little cheater. You finished shaping up before either of them did, glancing up from what you'd built. It seems you got done so fast because they already searched around for extra decorations. Shiloh had grabbed the most of the really interesting stuff. Cove had a lot of shells, but there were still options. The first thing you reached for was I'm gonna go green piece of sea glass. I don't think anyone else has that. It was the best fit for your castle, you decided. Perfect for a hag. It was see-through and sparkly. So you tucked it away somewhere secure, barely poking out to make sure it didn't get lost. Pleased with your result, you finally took a proper look around that wasn't focused on the sand itself. Both Cove and Shiloh seemed to super immerse still. You knew you could probably sneak a peek at either one's work. I'm not a dirty cheater, though. I'm not looking at anyone's. Instead, you watched some clouds go by. The silence was broken. What's that on top of yours, Shiloh? You peeked closer to discover something sticking out of sticking out of Shiloh's sand chimney. Oh, it's just a gum wrapper. It looks like smoke.
Neat.
It's good. That's smart. Kinda looks more like a worm. A slimy worm. Sticking out his tongue in disgust, Cove's face soured. Gross. Shiloh frowned without a word. And that was that for the current topic. Mommy, can I see what you did? Sure. He scooted just a bit nearer and began surveying your work. The castle you had built was pretty impressive, all things considered. It had archways, tall walls, and even a little moat circling it. You would probably feel safe living there. Maybe your moms were queens. Shella quickly decided to jump into the new conversation. Hey, Pommy, what did you do? I made a castle. Shella didn't look so happy anymore. You both built castles?
Yeah.
Aw, that's neat how you guys managed. It's too bad we didn't all do it. Next time we should. Wouldn't that be boring? If something is the only one of that thing, that makes it special. Yeah, for sandcastles and stuff. People too. My dad always says how everybody is their own man, a real individual. I don't think I'm very special. Shut the fuck up.
Why?
Why not? Nobody else is you. Billy shook his head. I'm not different. The beat passed me a joke, then looked down at his own work again. Okay. He didn't seem bothered by leaving the disagreement hanging there. Cove had other things on his mind. Besides, Shiloh just admitted that he's a parasite and he cannot have his own personality. He needs to adopt the one of everyone near him. Also, he has such round little hands. He's got little round hands. Like baby hands. I just noticed how baby Shiloh's hands were. My dad tried to get me to make sandcastles the first time we came to the beach. I didn't want to. He trailed off again with another silence. Shiloh opened his mouth to say something, but Cove spoke up before he could. You didn't think he noticed Shiloh was going to talk. Hey, do you know what happened when your moms met with my dad, Palme? You blinked, not asking a question. You thought hard. I wasn't there. They didn't tell me. I just know what happened when I met your dad. Mr. Holden had been a weird stranger then. Well, he was kind of so strange. No other man acted like him. But you knew him better at this point, and you could confirm. He's not a serial killer. Now you thought about it, it made sense that Cove's dad talked to him about a week. You were both from the continued. Oh, well, I was there. I don't know your dad. Yeah, my dad met the same day I met her. I didn't say what happened. Just being sad makes me laugh. Charlie found himself, ducking his head. His eyes showed over his face. You could tell he was upset about not being included in Cove's choice of topic. That's too bad, because Shiloh's just like to be me when he's with Lizzie, okay? Shiloh's learning what it feels like to be around Lizzie. Not gonna bring him. People giving their own turn to say things they want is important too. I'm gonna stay silent and let Cove finish his story. Shiloh could talk about stuff after I got a chance to share with people. When we moved here, we didn't bring a lot of things with us, only some stuff that would fit in Dad's car. We didn't do anything. I said about it all inside. I didn't want to get out because I knew Dad would make me look around and I really didn't want to do that. This looks different, he would call it that. Anyways, nice moms, they were in a car too, to their house, and I guess they were putting up some or something. My dad noticed, he waved his hand, and then went around to your house and he started talking to them. I don't know what they said, I couldn't hear it. But he couldn't see me anymore, since he was looking the other way. So I opened the car door and left. I wanted to get away and went behind the houses. I found those hills there. The ones where we met for the first time. Cove stared at you. You stared back. He didn't go on to say much more. And I look at him, and he looks at me, and I look at him. That's what he's fucking about. Is that it? Cove's brow wrinkled. He didn't understand, surprised.
Huh?
That's all that happened. Why did you want to tell the story if nothing happened? It didn't happen. That's why I didn't make the story. That's not really... Both are not understanding the issue here. Joe's mouth twisted into a scowl of disbelief. But something. Why'd you anyway? There was a slight shrug on Cove's shoulders.
Well...
I was thinking about it because of the sandcastle and made me here. Dad showed me at the beach first before we got back. He was really excited about it for some reason. But I was afraid a little more to rake his for the sand. I get it. He thought maybe Mr. Holt wasn't that excited about the beach as I was hoping Cove might be. But the line of conversation came to its end. Even Cove was with some other topic popped to his head. Child fidgeting uncomfortably in the sand had made Cove aware present. I'm so sorry that you remember that Shiloh exists. I'm so sorry to Cove for that. In fact, let me... Yeah, here we go. This is the proper sprite for this. I am so sorry, Cove. Oh my god. Actually, I think that was actually my first ever sprite change. Wow. Guys, we did it. My first ever sprite change. I kind of forgot my hotkeys, to be honest. Well, I know my hotkeys, I just kind of forgot to use my hotkeys. We should be looking like this every time Shiloh comes onto the screen. Or maybe like this, because Shiloh also makes me feel like this, like in a neg way. We also have this for later on. We have this. Back to the default. They looked at each other. You can only wonder what this might be about. Hey, Shiloh? Yeah? Why are you always turning so red, even when nothing is happening? That's kind of fucking weird. What are you? May from turning red? Clearly startled, he jerked back. Neither you or Shiloh had expected that to be included in the conversation. I don't know, I guess. Cove has the right reaction. It's weird. Okay, it's kind of weird. Shiloh's eyes were wide with embarrassment, and his lips twitched. He was blushing even harder than before. Maybe it wasn't only this. Perhaps it was simply the last straw. But it was a big deal to Shiloh, a huge deal. He didn't just look sad. He seemed almost panicked. You weren't sure if he was about to cry or run away or what, but soon you got an answer. Why do you wear glasses? Most kids don't wear glasses, and nobody is named Cove.
Come.
Oh my god! Oh, this little demon! This little demon here! This little demon! This little monster out here! Oh my god! Look at him! Look at him! Look at him! Look at him! Shame him! Name and shame him! Name and shame! Name and shame! Name, 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 name! Shame, 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 shame! Name and shame! I can't believe this guy exists. Who asked you to come? It was probably just your dad wanting to come his family to someone, because you don't have anyone else who will ever want to play with you. Gove blinked. The tension on the beach was suddenly uncomfortable in a way you didn't know how to mention. It seems like the kind of thing he'd get upset about, though. You hadn't ever known what kind of thing Shiloh would bother with. I'm sorry. Me too, I was just wondering. I want to tell off Shiloh so bad. I'm just gonna play on my own. You shrugged, not in the mood to work out their problem, and started building another sandcastle next to your first one. Both of your playmates noticed and immediately turned away from each other. What are you doing? I'm gonna finish my next one before both of you. Shelly glanced at you, then at Cove, who'd started digging more sand. You all went back to making more sand buildings, but the whole mood had changed. Shallow's cheeriness was gone, and Cove looked confused as ever about why the boy had blown up. Honestly, me too. Low-key, Shiloh, no one here likes you? Taking a drink of my soda. Shiloh, no one here likes you. You are the outlier here. It's our best friendship and you the third wheel. They stayed uncomfortable the rest of the afternoon, right up to the moment that Shiloh's mom appeared at the beach to take him home. Cove and Shiloh had mostly followed your lead and barely said a word. His mom clearly staying behind him, even though Shiloh's goodbye had been quiet, friendly, cheerful, but noticeably quiet. With Shiloh gone and the sun going down, you knew it was time for you and Cove to head to your own houses. You followed him as he made his way out of the sand. The walk home was quiet. You passed by familiar landmarks, shoes thumping against the sidewalk in near perfect unison. Cove was clearly caught up in thinking about something. Cove, what are you thinking? The prospect of asking made you nervous, but you're doing it anyways. Hey, is everything okay? Oh, I was just wondering. Cove was silent again for a few more seconds, then sighed. Why'd Shiloh act like that when I said he was all red a lot? He's just being a baby. Don't worry about it. It can get really weird sometimes. I guess I can get it why he would do that. Sometimes I get really mad too. Despite seemingly coming to a conclusion, Cove's mood was still sour. Hey, Pommy, was Shiloh telling the truth? Huh? His gaze left yours. He dug the sole of his shoe into the ground. He looked oddly vulnerable for a second. Does my dad make you hang out with me? I know he talks to your moms about that a lot. An uncomfortable weight settled into your chest. You liked spending time with Cove. You didn't have to think hard about it. You knew you did. But you couldn't help feeling guilty. Cove still didn't know what happened when you met Mr. Holden. I'm not going to tell him about the money. This is not a good time. Nobody's making me spend time with you. Cove's shoulders relaxed. You hadn't even noticed that he had tensed up. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Anyway, I didn't think you were pretending. I just wanted to make sure it was all okay.
Thanks.
Thanks for telling me. Your throat tightened. It was hard to meet Cove's earnest gaze again. Keeping secrets was hard. Yeah. But now the two of you were on the sidewalk near your houses. It was time to part ways. I'm gonna hug Cove goodbye. We're friends. You stepped forward and wrapped your arms around him tightly. You turned your head, resting your cheek on his shoulder. Cove stood there awkwardly with his hands at his sides. He wasn't much hugger, but you didn't get the impression that you were. Bye, Cove. See you tomorrow. Yeah, bye, Mommy. You pulled away, then jogged towards your house. When you looked back, you saw Cove making his way back home. As if he felt your eyes on him, he turned around and waved. You did too. You still felt a little unsure with what you were supposed to do about the deal with Cove's dad had offered. Honestly, there are multiple points in this game where this comes up. I feel like I've always told him the truth each time, but low-key, imagine marrying him, which I do have the wedding DLC, but not on this save. Imagine marrying him and never telling him, or telling him after you got married, that his dad had set this whole thing up. You didn't want to say something bad or something you shouldn't. You had no idea how Cove would take it either. It would be terrible if it made him feel bad. What if he didn't want to play with you anymore? Might change your mind sometime. There was always tomorrow, after all. But for now, it was definitely something that you'd keep to yourself. With a final look, you went inside your house. Okay, we're on to fireflies, and then the turn ends. Yay! I'm so sorry for awkward breathing. I don't know really how to control that. But, we're working on it. I'm anxious a lot of the time. So maybe as I do this more and more and more, I'm not going to be breathing so much. Alright, tonight we're going to catch fireflies. At this blunt declaration from your sister, you looked up from your macaroni and cheese dinner. Fireflies were a familiar sight over the summer, coming out on warm nights to dance through the sky. Tonight was particularly balmy. You knew there were bound to be a ton of them around. Oh, you are you? I'm gonna eat. Actually, no, this is me. You liked catching fireflies just as much as the next kiss, but you wished Lizzie would ask what you wanted to do for a change. That's a good idea, Lizzie. Can we, Mrs. Vamp? What a cool last name I gave this family. What a cool last name. You guys missed it because the audio was broken. However, I checked the new MP4 files because I'm going to be filming this in 2 different parts just to really avoid audio glitching. The very first one fucked up. However, I fixed my mic, and the new one, guys, there's like little to no audio glitches. There's like little to none, unlike the first 2 episodes. Yay, we kind of figured it out, so we're gonna keep going. Yay. I fixed my mic up, and we're finally no issues. Shiloh tapped his fork against the table excitedly, his face lighting up as he looked at Lizzie. It was unusual for Shiloh to still be here. Like always, his mom had to bring him over really early in the morning before her job started. But normally she would have picked him up by now. She called before dinner to let your moms know she'd be late. You didn't hear why. Probably more work things. You thought maybe getting to hang out with Shiloh for longer is what made Lizzie want to keep running around outside. Staying at home and watching TV was never an option for her with guests over. That's why you were pretty sure she'd get your moms to agree. Well, it's already so dark out there. Lizzie gave her mom the biggest puppy eyes she could, slowly spooning mac and cheese into her mouth while you waited there for their response.
There.
Let them go. Nights like this don't happen every day. The parents exchanged a look, then Mom eventually sighed and nodded back. The mothers who don't care that their children could be murdered out there. They really said, yeah, you can just stay out late. I yapped about this in the version that literally got muted. I'm actually speeding that up and putting into like a little funny, it's a little bit of an intro in itself. We're using YouTube video editor. That's what I've decided. We're using YouTube video editor, so we kind of have editing, but not really. Yeah, I had mentioned this. Growing up, I didn't have that. I wasn't really allowed to be outside on my own. I always had to have someone watching me. So that's not something I can relate to. And I live in a relatively safe, very outdoorsy neighborhood. Yes! Fine. Just make sure you stay on the hill behind our house with all the poppies, okay? Duh, Mom. That's where most of them are. The idea had only just been planted in your head, but already you could picture the glowing lights spread out in front of you, like fairies from the bedtime stories Mommy reads sometimes. Lucy and Shiloh started digging into their food. It soon became a race to see who could finish their dinner first.
Isn't that great?
Are you excited to go out and play, Pame? You gave a non-committal shrug. I only want to play with Coves there. I don't really like playing with Shiloh. Mommy's just mad because I always catch the most. Lizzie boasted proudly, her mouth full of food, and Mom gave her a stern look. Elizabeth. A knock on the door interrupted Mom before she could no doubt scold your sister. I'll get it. Go. I tapped it like twice and it didn't. Your big sister jumped out of her seat and ran over to the door, pulling open without even looking out the window to see who it was.
Huh?
Huh? You shifted in your seat to try and get a glimpse of the unexpected guest. Is it?
Hi.
Good evening, Cove. Your mommy had already walked to the door by the time you managed to see past Shallow's floppy hat. A big smile stretched across her face. It's my best friend! When you lifted your hand and waved, Cove's pink cast went up to return it shortly after. It didn't matter why he was there. It meant he could join you on catching fireflies. Then for a few seconds, Cove said nothing. He only stood there and looked up at your mommy with his face almost like he was considering turning around and leaving. My dad told me to drop this off because I guess he borrowed it from you. Cove took a familiar screwdriver out from the side of his large pocket. Eyes now dropped to the floor. We left ours back at home when we moved. Great, thanks, bye. Was he the bitch?
Thank you.
Thank you. Here, why don't you come inside for a bit? Lizzie crossed her arms and lifted her chin. Cove shrugged. Mom stood up from the table. Give your dad a call and let him know you got here all right. Why did I struggle with that sentence? Cove shuffled it fully inside, eyes remaining on the ground. Mommy closed the door behind him. So is Charlotte gonna apologize for what?
Hi.
Hi, Cove. Charlotte gave Cove a friendly smile while waving, holding up his hand and opening and closing his fingers. He's literally doing like a little gay wave. Cove, are you gonna catch fireflies with us? You could see Lizzie eyeing you for mentioning the excursion to an outsider. She'd get over it. You dragged your foot over the floor in front of you, feeling too shy to say any more.
Yeah.
I can do that. I've never caught one before. It's too bad he didn't have the chance before now. The fireflies weren't out when he first moved in. There must not have been any where he used to live either. We can't go until after dinner. At some point, after... What did I... Ugh, words. After she pointed this out, Lizzie walked back to the table and took her seat. There wasn't much left on her plate. She'd go up with that thing, damn. Me too, when it's mac and cheese, me fucking too. Me too, me too, me too. One thing about vampires is, vampires actually really love mac and cheese. Vampires are a big mac and cheese fan. Since this was very true, yes, vampires love mac and cheese. You decided to finish up your own stuff as well. Cove stepped closer and eyed what was on the menu for your family's meal. Have you eaten? My dad and I ate earlier. What did you have? What the? I don't want to save. That was random. Eggs. The clipped one-worded response seemed to discourage Shiloh from asking any more questions. His eyes slowly wandered back to the last scraps of food on his plate. Her phone call with Cove's dad must have ended, 'cause your mom came back into the room.
Okay.
Cove, your dad said you can stay for a little while if you'd like. He's going to come get you before it gets too much later. Sure.
Fine.
Oh, fun. This will be so nice. As you polished off the meal, you hoped it would be too. The three of you all finished eating shortly after, and Lizzie led the way outside. Remember, don't stray too far. It's fine, Mom. Shiloh trailed so closely after Lizzie. He was nearly stepping on her heels. Cove hesitated at the door. You smiled lightly at Cove, gesturing for him to follow. After a moment, he did.
Bye.
Bye, children. God, she doesn't even talk anymore. She goes, bye, children. She talks like I write. The two of you were a good 10 or 15 feet behind Lizzie and Shiloh. By the time you walked outside, you pushed the door shut behind you, watching the figures get farther and farther away. You're so slow, Pommy. We don't have all night. You started to run when you heard Lizzie's voice calling you, but paused when you saw Cove still walking at a relaxed pace. I'm gonna walk with him. You fell behind, sliding up next to him, matching his stride. He noticed right away.
It's okay.
You can go ahead if you want. You smile and shake your head. Can we just acknowledge Cove obviously has various different voice actors for this game. I just think that the voice actors for each stage for Cove are so good at what they do. And that's just all I want to say. I just think they do a really good job. You smile and shake your head. After a short while, the two of you reached the hill behind your house. The fireflies were in full force, floating on the breeze, their gentle glow winking in and out, creating an almost magical effect. Lizzie had already climbed to the top. Shiloh was spinning in circles somewhere around the middle.
Wow.
Aww. Sorry, him experiencing magic is so cute. It only took a moment to come over and welcome the both of you to the hill. This is my hill, dude. I own this hill. Hi guys, it's really great out. See how many there are? Yeah. A firefly danced through the air, landing on Cove's sea green head. You quietly looked on. Took a couple of steps back slowly, trying not to spook the little bug, as you admire how it glowed so brightly against Cove's hair. Cove raised an eyebrow, giving you a confused look, and Shiloh giggled. You gestured to his head, and he reached up, making the firefly dart away. Cove jumped, then followed after the glow.
Oh.
Oh, look, Lizzie has one. That's amazing. Shiloh ran to the highest point of the hill, making sure not to lose his hat or backpack along the way. I actually would really like to know how much of this was based on GB Patch's experiences with childhood. I actually would really like to know how much this was based on the people who work at GB Patch, their childhood. Assuming they're a bit older than me, because honestly, the setting of this, yes, it's very ambiguous 2000s, but it's also like very specific to a period where people were just allowed to go outside. You hummed as the group divided and conquered, shifting your gaze to the dozens of their fireflies sailing around. The game was on. Okay, let's see. Technically, I actually have a bandage on my wrist right now, so we're gonna go with this. Because my cat's scratching my vein. Spotting one close by, you approached it with an assassin-like stealth, crouching down to make yourself seem like less of a threat. This is it. We're gonna get the first view of our character. Slowly dragging one foot in front of the other, you crept up towards it, arms outstretched. You closed your hands around the little glowing orb, careful to not crush it. The firefly landed on your palm, almost docile, and you stared down at your prize in delight. Its tiny legs tickled your skin, and you giggled at the sensation. Phil kept up with his own target, but when he tried and grabbed it, his pink cast waved awkwardly through the air, foiling his efforts to clap his hands around the firefly. He's having a hard time. Cove watched his abandoned spinner with a dissatisfied expression on his face. You told him what the firefly you had. Cove, here's one. You want to look at it? Cove gave you one more look in the direction of his lost prize. Before coming closer and peering at the insect still crawling across your palm, you held out your hand and he leaned closer, eyes widening a tad behind his glasses. Cove remained hypnotized by the little bug as it inched closer to his hand and yours. Ultimately, he settled on top of the ones you were holding open. You must stay very still. You were so nervous you thought you stopped being what you didn't want to stare at the tiny treasure. Look at that! There we are! There we are, touching hands with Cove. There's our bracelet we selected earlier, by the way. Deflector noticed a new connection and crawled up Cove's hand. He quietly got such low-key Cove's hand looked like a grown man compared to mine. And this is our hand and that's Cove's hand. He looked like a grown man compared to ours. I'm just gonna say that much. It worked. Yeah, you got one. Cove's lips turned upward into a slow smile, his eyes shining brighter than the bug. Thanks, Hame. We'll have to calm your name these Mac forming a blow. Started by the extreme movement, the lights appeared between the two before it even blinked. Firefly's gone. Sorry, I just killed a bug. I'm gonna forgive him. That's okay. I couldn't keep it forever.
You're right.
Right, bugs have to stay outside because it's disgusting when they get inside. You decide to collect more. We can work together. His face broke out into a wide grin. Look at a bunch. Aw, look at our little friendship. We're so cute. With renewed vigor, you ran out onto the hill. You're not sure how much time passed while you were in the thick of it. Into the thick of it? I don't know. Does anyone know? All you could focus on was the adventure at hand. No critter was safe from your grasp, God. At first you tried to keep a tally of how many you had caught, but once the number grew higher than 10, you had no more fingers left to count with. You were having the time of your life racing up and down the hill, with the crash of the ocean and the sound of everyone's laughter echoing in the background. Pommy, this way! You followed the sound of Cove's voice at the top of the hill, watching as he stretched his arms in front of him, reaching with his fingers and only narrowly missing his target. Cove and you took turns trying to scare fireflies in the direction of the other. You showed him some techniques you had learned, like how to cup your hand correctly, and he listened attentively before trying himself. There were a few times when you almost ran into each other, giggling as you dove to the side at the last moment. Luckily, disaster was avoided each time. It was an overall huge success, with both of you catching multiple fireflies each. Eventually, the fireflies began to thin out and your energy was starting to lapse. You decided it was time to call off the hunt. Cove didn't complain. He breathed in heavily. It's just flesh. That was fun. You smiled at him brightly. Happy with the activity. Yeah, it was. Pommy Cove, get up here. We're gonna have a race. The shout caught you off guard. It had been quite a while since you heard Nazir shout. You looked over to standing on top of the hill, Lady beckoning you to join with cool gestures. If she was like that, you knew there wasn't much room for disagreement. Up the incline you went from the corner, you saw Cove was coming as well. He didn't care for Lizzie a lot, so you thought he might just be intrigued by the idea of a race. Hi! Cove, you can't roll down the hill. You're gonna just hurt your arm again. You'll have to be the referee for the rest of us. This was the... As Lizzie pointed this out, Cove froze in place. Oh, it was that kind of race. He frowned down at his cast. That was the second time it got in the way tonight. What? Yeah, you'll have to watch and see who gets to the bottom first. That's important, got it?
Yes.
The cast was sturdy. If he was careful, he could have done it. Lizzie might have just been looking for a reason to make someone else the referee, but it was already decided. I'm gonna stay with Cove. I'm tired. Really? Why? You don't have to. It's okay, I want to watch. You moved beside him on the top of the hill. Even Lizzie eyed you and made a face. That's not how races work. We only need one referee. Okay, then I'm the spectator. Shrugging your shoulders, you refused to budge, and Lizzie let out a huff before throwing her hands in the air. Fine, I'll be the winner whether you join or not. Lizzie moved to lay down, and Shiloh did the same. Cove stood slightly to the side to get a better vantage point. You stood next to him. Count down! Cove stood up a little straighter. It seemed like he was taking his newfound referee duties very seriously. 3, 2, 1, go. Lizzie and Shiloh took off, letting gravity do the work, rolling at high speed towards the bottom of the hill. You and Cove leaned forward to watch them go. Eyes peeled for which of the two would reach the bottom first. They were both neck and neck, until about halfway down the hill, Lizzie started to veer off the side, giving Charlie a huge advantage. She obviously hadn't noticed a thing. And as soon as Shiloh reached the bottom of the hill, he unexpectedly jumped up and threw his hands in the air. Oh my god, we missed it. Hold on. I won! Almost immediately, he fell back onto the grass, still dizzy from his roll down the hill. Oh my god, we just skipped that. Oh well. Not bad. You got lucky. Let's do it again and see who wins for real. Kids, it's time to come in. No. You snickered, feeling grateful you hadn't been part of this mini debacle. You caught Cove's eyes, and saw that he was doing the same. It had gotten late, and was beginning to feel just a bit chilly as you made your way out of the hills, but the cold air hadn't dampened anyone's spirits. It's the end of summer, just like it is in real life. Actually, really great time to be playing this game. I mean, honestly, I should have started this earlier because, we were in summer. We're coming out of August now. It's now September. Yikes. The four of you walked back home together side by side, down your neighborhood street, discussing the evening, with each person trying to prove that they were the one who got the most fireflies. You knew that, however, who did catch the most fireflies didn't matter much anyway. Oh my god, what was that? All that mattered was that you all had a good time, which, judging by the smiles in everyone's faces, you did. I guess we'll do and then summer ended? Yes, it did. Summer's over. I'll never get tired of that view. You stood beside your moms, Lizzie and Cove, as the five of you watched the sun dip into the ocean somewhere far away. You like to imagine it cooling off in the water, resting itself before getting ready to shine again. That was a fun day. I didn't know they had magicians on the shopping street now. Yep, and he pulls out Cater Diamond from Twisted Wonderland. With the audio glitching the other time, you guys wouldn't have known that I made that reference, but I had referenced Cater Diamond Twisted Wonderland. Okay? Cater Diamond Twisted Wonderland. However, the audio seems to be fixed now. Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. Seems like it's better now. Don't jinx it. Neither did I. Oh no, we are all so dull. Let's get out more. He didn't do real magic, Mom. How did you figure that one out? Because I know, that's not what real magic looks like. Oh, Lizzie dear, there's all kinds of magic out there in the world. Haven't you heard of Twisted Wonderland? Lizzie gave Mommy a suspicious look, but didn't dispute the claim. He looked over at Cove, who hadn't said a word since you started home. didn't look upset, just content. You were aware he hadn't quite warmed up to your parents. Well, we can't just sit out here all night. Time to hurry home and get cooking. Who's helping with dinner? Lizzie immediately let out of the room. Mom, summer's almost over. The protest was obvious. You could practically see school on the horizon. You look out to the sun, it just says school. If you put in a couple extra O's and an L in sun, you get Sewell. Sewell. You certainly didn't want to spend your last bits of freedom cooking dinner. You could do that any other day. We have to keep playing before it's too late. Mom raised her out of the corner of her mouth, lifting her lips. It's the world. It practically is. Surely your joint effort would down. We can't read. Seemed her case and stomped to the ground, to be a vampire judged by all these other bunnies. You mimicked her, feeling that would add something to the argument. Well,
No.
come on, Pam, I got there. Mommy leaned in for a hug. You knew that they were very close.
Okay.
All right. But as soon as it's ready, you are coming inside. Understood? Yes, Mom. Yes, Mom. You're welcome to child, which he returned. Both get non-committal shrug to your mommy, which you took as an agreement. She's a little shell bracelet. Ooh, even playground or to the fire. You certainly made your own plans. Lizzie had her ideas of what she wanted to do, but what were you going to do? You glanced over at Cove, considering. This wind made sure she wrapped her arms around herself. The wind was over yet? That's all, Lizzie said, before abruptly turning on her heel and heading off in the direction of your mother's. Had gone. Where are you going? Going to my room. I have lots to plan if I want to make the most of tomorrow. You thought this over, looking off towards the water. Lizzie didn't wait, and before long, she was disappearing off the road. Meanwhile, Cove was going in the opposite direction, heading for the beach. I'm gonna stay with Cove. He got the right idea. We just protested for our playtime, and Lizzie's like, actually, I don't want that. You have a small smile. Cove gave you a small smile that you couldn't help but return. Cool. He made a little gesture that you interpreted as, follow me. Then he started heading towards the waves. Cove knelt down, picking up something you quickly identified as smooth rock. He ripped his arm back and tossed it to the water. You were impressed at how far he got it to go. It sailed way out into the sea. I'm gonna look for my own rock. Deciding to join Cove, you searched for nearby rocks or shells you could throw too. Found a shell that would suit your purposes, a smile growing as you tossed it as hard as you could. It landed with a wet-sounding thunk a few feet away, slipped down into the water. You looked over at Cove. He didn't seem to notice that his throw had been more impressive. Cove was looking down at his cast, scratching idly the pink surface, even though you're pretty sure you could feel it. Couldn't feel it, sorry. His brows were furrowed, and a frown was cast on his face.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. I've had to wear this stupid cast for ages, and I can't even swim. When do you get it off? Cove shrugged and didn't say anything. For a second you thought that maybe he didn't know, but he finally sighed. A few weeks. That's not... I mean, is it kind of long for summer? Yeah. It is a while away. You thought for something else to say, but something positive, but we're just gonna come to you. As was usual for you. Cove let a huff, plopping down into the sand. Can't believe summer's almost over. He sat down next to him and nodded in agreement, regardless of the sudden topic change. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to a new school. I think it'll be the same as the school as you and Lizzie. My dad said something about that. Cool, you're going to like it. Everyone's super nice. You've never been to the one school. You're so cool and that better. Then again, you'd have to new teachers who can carry. Cove shook his head and wrapped his good arm around his knees as he drew them close to his chest. Heard a sniffling sound. Took a good look at his face. His eyes were wet.
I want to go home.
Cove, no, no! Hold on, where's my sad sprite? Is this my sad? I gotta check. Yes, I got my sad sprite up. Okay. Cove, no. No, no, Cove, Cove, Cove. Ah, I accidentally closed the game. What the hell? I accidentally closed my game. I bet you had caught that. I bet you had caught the moment I accidentally closed my game. You'd never had to move before. You thought suddenly you could understand, but if you had to go to a new school all of a sudden with all new people, you'd probably be dreading it too. Even though you sort of maybe understood, you still weren't sure how to help. Okay, I'll see you later. Cove gave his nose at Jake. No, I want to go back home. Right, Cove wanted to go back to his old home. The one that sat waiting on someplace far from here. The one where he would bring up whenever he felt this sad. It had been a while since he had moved in, but he didn't seem to feel any better about being here. He settled back down into the sand, trying to consider what to do. Do you hate it here? Cove's brows furrowed even more, and he shook his head. What a rush of relief to you. You liked having Cove here, and it would be sad if he'd been miserable the whole time. You won't be right. You'll still be around? The question was a little surprising. Of course. Your parents have never mentioned moving or anything. After a second, Cove gave a little nod. The hat off, we could go swimming. We're finding the subject again. Okay. I had to say swimming did sound fun, even if it was like chilly out. It's not back at the way it's saying I used to everything eventually, that I feel better. It used to make me angry. I didn't want to eat everything. Spirit glanced over at Cove. Anger had slipped off his face and was puzzled. But maybe that would be okay for this. As long as I really do better. I can't see it. You could remember when you first started going to you'd have nothing to just tell you what to do before. And it's hard. Speak up and see. Hold his hand. You're not quite sure what to say to that, so instead you reach out and take hold of Cove's hand. The closest thing to you is the cast, so you make sure you were very gentle. As you watched, Cove's eyes got a little misty once more. You got the feeling they were different cheers, ones from the ones before, though. I hope next summer I'll surf and go exploring and everything will feel like it's supposed to again. Give a little nod, resting your head on your own knees. The two of you sat quietly, just taking in the sounds of the waves. You had hoped that Cove would accept this place as his home. You definitely try in the woods. This probably hadn't even seen it. Last night you started a big faint familiar sound. The sound of your mom shouting your name. Isn't this something depressing? I was depressed for a bit there. I was really sad. Time had gone by really fast. You stood up and dusted off to the sand. My mom's calling. It's time for dinner. You should come. Cliff looked up at you, expressing screaming reluctance, yet ultimately, okay. When you smiled, Cove returned with one of his own. Pommy, thanks. It was nice where you were both right then. But the two of you couldn't stay there in your own little world for any longer. You were being called forward. So the both of you ran towards your house, leaving the waves of summer behind. That was a lot of reading. Let's go, let's go, let's go. In between. We're gonna customize ourselves now. Yay! Okay, we're gonna customize myself. I mean, to be honest, I think this fits me. But we're gonna be a bit older now, aren't we? Yeah, we're a bit older now.
That I'd kind of be into.
The guy that you'd kind of be into.
Yeah, that guy that I'd kind of be into is Jake.
His shirt. This is just, it feels more Cove to me. That's so ugly. Oh, he's so ugly. Going with brown because that's the least offensive. Oh, look at that scar. He's cool as hell. Guys, he's cool as hell. I like the purple. That feels very cool to me. Yeah, you can have a necklace. That's pretty cool. You can have pajamas. In this upcoming segment, in this section, there's a bit of a first kiss type moment and a share the bed type moment, and they are kind of my favorites. No one wears glasses to bed, so hell yeah. Outfit. That kind of looks like a shark, therefore that's cool. Our Cove has... Wait, I didn't get to fix his personality. Oh, well, I guess we're just going with the default. August ended, September began. It was time to go back to school. Lizzie groaned and complained the entire first week. She still hated classes, still. There were interesting things to do that couldn't be done anywhere else. We weren't sure how Cove felt about it. He enrolled that year. That was like a sign Cove would be staying at Sunset Bird for a while. At school, he was alright, but kept his distance from other kids. From what you saw, anyway. Whenever he could, Cove stuck to you like glue. He didn't even mind much what you did to pass the time, as long as it was together. That year, the divorce of Cove's parents was finalized. Due over his parents talking about it, Cove's dad got full custody. At first, you were worried that meant bad news. It made Mr. Holden cry, apparently. Then you found out it meant Cove would be living with his dad. He would only stay with his mom a few weeks out of the year. Cove cried too, for different reasons, he thought. It seemed like Cove and his dad might move again, but Mr. Holden decided to stay after all. Mom asked about it once. He had said he didn't want to uproot Cove's life a second time. Mr. Holden tried to get Cove to like Sunset Bird more. He kept encouraging his son to go and see the place. Sometimes Mr. Holden volunteered you to spend time with Cove. He seemed very confident that it was an effective strategy. Strange man alert. Cove never talked to anyone about what happened with his parents and withdrew even more whenever it was brought up. It was hard for him, yet nobody knew how to help. Eventually, Cove stopped crying on his own. You could understand what had changed. Still, you worried about him. You could tell he wasn't completely happy. Maybe one day he could say it out loud what he felt inside. After that, it felt like things had gone back to normal, except what normal was didn't stay the same. Years passed, and suddenly you were in middle school. You weren't a kid anymore. You were 13 years old. That officially made you a teen, even if your sister didn't agree. The toys, crayons that used to litter every free space in your room had been packed away somewhere, replaced by new hobbies. There were other changes, too. Cove's cast got taken off. It was weird to see him without it initially. Underneath the pink plaster ended up being a long thin scar snaked across his forearm. Cove's chest puffed out with pride when someone drew attention to it. He thinks he looks so cool, and he does. He also went through a major growth spurt. He was the tallest in his class for 2 years in a row. Cove will probably hold that spot next time. In class, people knew him for more than being tall. He also stood out in how well he did in gym and other athletic situations. Over the years, he began opening up more to... You saw him talking amicably with other kids or neighbors from time to time. Yay, he's becoming, like, cool. And the only kid that came to visit the neighborhood when you were little, Shiloh, well, he was gone. Yeah! Let's go. Let's celebrate that. Guys, I'm celebrating that. Yeah! Oh my god, my mic's so hot. My microphone is getting hot. Oh my god. He and his mom moved back south because of our work. Just 1 year after Cove came to Sunset, Cove saved us. The presence of Cove saved us from a little tyrant. It had been really upsetting when he left. Lizzie was inconsolable for weeks. Nobody talked about Shiloh anymore. It was a long time ago. I'm not upset. I'm happy about it. You learned some heartbreaking things that became less sad the further away they were. Even if they had never gotten any better. That was sad in its own way. Things at home were different too. You still lived in the same house and all of that, but it wasn't how it was before. Ma dyed her hair purple with something new. Wanting something new, and she liked it so much she kept dyeing it. Remember calling her Mommy as a kid, something that seemed awkward nowadays. You were much too old for the word. Lizzie felt too mature for her nickname, so she insisted everyone called her Elizabeth, so you did. Your mom soon gave her permission to go places other than the playground and shopping street, which she took advantage of. You rarely saw her around the old neighborhood. In fact, she hardly spent time with you the way she did before. Elizabeth instead associated with more and more girls from school who were her own age. Maybe the difference between 13 and 15 was greater than between 8 and 10. You started befriending new people yourself, like Derek Suarez. He didn't live in the neighborhood or go to the same school. Why am I struggling with that word? I'm literally Hispanic and I'm struggling with that name. What happened was his and Cove's dad struck a business partnership a few months ago. Since then, Derek would pop up in the area now and then. It seemed Mr. Suarez was happy to let Derek tag along to his work, if Derek had time for it. Without a doubt, everyone and everything around you had changed. In small and big ways, you had too. As time went by, though, it was easy to settle into this new normal. Then, before you knew it, school was over. Summer vacation had come to an end. It was the first day of... School year had come to an end, sorry. It was the first day of summer vacation, and the sun was hot as ever. You were inside, away from its harsh rays. To be more specific, you were... I want to say wide awake. I mean, nowadays I do sleep more, but I did not as a kid. You made sure to slather on a generous amount of sunscreen so you didn't get burnt. You were looking in the mirror, studying the clothes you'd thrown on when your bedroom opened without warning. In the reflection, you saw Elizabeth raising an eyebrow. God, she's so annoying. Have you been staring at yourself this whole morning? No. Could you knock next time? She ignored that, crossing her arms over her chest with a disgruntled expression. Clearly she hadn't come in just to see you. Mom told me that your friend's at the door. He brought some happy summer gift from Mr. Holden. Mom wants you to take it from him, say thanks or whatever.
Come on.
So come down already. I'll be there when I'm there. I'm like, now we're like in our emo era, my emo era and everything. She's in her like mean girl era more than she was before. I'm just in my emo era. Elizabeth rolled her eyes and left, having done what was instructed of her. Now alone, you focused on the mirror once again. We get to customize ourselves now. I'm that small. You were even smaller than Derek. People were always surprised to find out you and Cope were the same age, considering the comical height difference. I don't care about my height, actually. I love being cute. I love being tiny and cute. That's actually why my avatar on here is tiny and cute. I love being tiny and cute so much that I'm like, I embrace being short. It suited you well in your mind. It was cute. Then you put the finishing touches on your outfit. While ruminating on the situation, careless as they happen, Elizabeth's words speak to your curiosity. Plan on going over to see what Cope's up to. So let's in your favor. You're a freshman back at you. We're looking forward to seeing him. You left from taking an easy downstairs. Oh yeah. Step 2, second chance. They want us to tell him so bad. I'm not going to tell him. Taking another drink because there's so much yapping. You know, maybe, actually, we should just see Cope and then we're going to save. He spotted Mom first, reclining on the couch. She held a magazine in her hands, which she was perusing through. Morning, Mom. She looked up at you, at your greeting, a smile instantly appearing on her face.
Thanks.
Good morning, Pomade. Thank you for coming down. Ew, she looks weird with that glasses. Ma's at the door with Cove. He can't stay over today, unfortunately. Why don't you go and thank him before he leaves? You nodded and made your way to the front of the house, just as Mom was there making conversation. She must have heard you, because she looked over her shoulder.
Oh.
Look who finally made it. Morning, sleepyhead. Mom reached forward. You knew she was about to pat you on the head. She was taller than average for an adult woman, so at your height you were absolutely tiny in her eyes. I'll let her do it. You stood by impatiently indulged your mom's wishes. She gave you 2 taps at the crown of your head. You're the last one down today. You know that? Life isn't a race. Funny, I don't think that excuse will work if you're late for anyone other than your own mother, though. With a small laugh, Mom stepped aside. Cove was just as you remembered, exactly how you came to know him to be. Oh, look at him! Look at him! Look at him! He's so cute. I love the art in this game. It's so cute and beautiful. Also, Pow Pow Fruit. Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts. Are we going to share the Pow Pow Fruit? When 2 people share the Pow Pow Fruit, their destinies become intertwined. Note to me when I'm putting this together, please download a cutscene of Kingdom Hearts Pow Pow Fruit and just insert it. And specifically, like, either after the video or this part. Because, honestly, yeah. Pow Poo Fruit? Pow Poo Fruit?
Sora! You wanted one, didn't you?
A Palpoo fruit?
If 2 people share one, their destinies become intertwined. They'll remain a part of each other's lives, no matter what. Come on, I know you want to try it.
What are you talking?
We have the Palpoo fruit from Kingdom Hearts. He leaned uncomfortably to the side in your doorway as the longer strands of hair idly drifted in the breeze. His features were pinched in embarrassment and he shifted from one foot to another. He was holding what must have been the much talked about gift. At first glance, you noticed it must be a bouquet of flowers. Then you gave it a real look. Instead it was carefully cut fruit. Paopu fruit from Kingdom Hearts. Cove's dad is a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, is what I'm going to gather. Made a lot of sense that it was coming from Cove's dad. You had to suppress a laugh after showing. At this showing, you couldn't imagine many folks buying that sort of thing for their own personal enjoyment. That kind of arrangement was built for presentation, likely to impress whoever was inevitably going to receive it. It seems no matter how long he lived here, Mr. Holden would keep going out his way neighborly, and Cove had always been roped into participating. Cove smiled at the sight of you, the sting of his goofy errand. He was clearly embarrassed about to be uneased. Hey, Pomay. You smiled back, a second nature to you. You'd always been a close friend ever since the two kids. Hey, it's nice to see you. Yeah, you too. Your grin widened even more. Every time he came, your mood was brightened. I have a crush on him. That's fine. I'm a soft fond. I'm a gentle fond towards him. Don't shame him. There plenty of time for you and have fun together. His awkwardness over the task just started to creep back in, so Cove nudged the gift closer to you. He was ready to be relieved of it. And with that, the gift was accepted. I hope your family likes this. It's a pretty good gift, I think so anyways. He smiled earnestly. Dad spent a lot of time picking out the best size and design. There were so many options to choose from. You are too cute sometimes. I'm just openly flirting with him. Ugh, Pomay. Just thank my dad for all this, okay? Alright. Sorry for openly flirting with Cove, but like, this step is probably one of my favorites, okay? It's very cute. Mr. Holden's behavior really was different from any neighbor you'd have ever had. Though after 5 years you were used to his antics, and he'd made up your mind on what your was. He's actually kind of a great guy. He is also handsome as well, but I don't want to note that he's handsome. We already do enough of that. Though there were some things people didn't like about Mr. Holden. You didn't mind them, and you liked him quite a bit. Yeah, he's literally nice. Your thoughts were quickly interrupted by a shout. There you are. You shared a confused look with Cove, as both of you stepped through the open door onto the street. Derek, it's Derek. Didn't take long to locate the source of the noise. He spotted Derek just a few yards down the road. He ran up to you. Derek is so cute. He's a character I love, and he was like the reason I needed the DLC. I think we'll just... Oh my god, my computer's like, storage low, storage low. Girlie, I'm gonna delete these soon. You were happy at the sight of him. Derek was certainly a welcome guest in your neighborhood. It was a pleasant surprise whenever he showed up. Yeah, he's so cute. After stopping a couple steps away, Derek hunched over to catch his breath. Then he looked up with a wide grin. Hey, guy and gal. I was just at your... Oh my god, I accidentally just skipped it. Okay. I was just at your house, Cove, but no one was there. Should have figured you'd be at Pome's place. Do you ever spend time in your own home, or are you just always there? Derek laughed at his own joke. He either didn't notice that it embarrassed Cove, or the embarrassment was that he was actually laughing at. Derek turned to you. He was going to say more, but then his eyes went, oh my god, why do things keep opening? Why didn't he gasp? What's that? You followed his gaze, unsure. Then you realized what he meant. You were still holding Mr. Holden's gift. It's kind of a bouquet of flowers, but made out of fruit.
Nice.
Nice, can I have some? It's a gift for my family. I can't give it to you. Derek patted at your words, not hiding his disappointment. Oh, okay. Then he nodded his head as if to clear it. Anyway, that's right. I came here because I need to say something. I need to say something big. He paused, possibly for effect. There's another kid here in Sunset Bird. Cove was surprised as you were by the news. Such a reaction made sense. No one around your age had moved into Sunset Bird since Cove did 5 years ago. Were they with their family? Maybe they were cutting through. Nuh-uh, the new kid was all by himself, just walking. Did you talk to him? Nope, I came to report the sighting right away. Got a green hair, glasses, pretty small, and seemed really upset about something. I hope he didn't leave. Oh my god, this is the new asshole. I hate this kid just as much as I hate Shiloh. You blinked slowly, you looked over to your longtime neighbor. That sounds a lot like you, Cove. When you first got here, anyways. Kinda does. Doesn't it? That's weird. Sounded almost fond, a small smile playing on his lips. Derek snickered good-naturedly. I can really see that well, now that you say so. But what'd you say? Let's go find Cove's lookalike. We should all meet him.
Sure.
I'll do it. Sure, I want to see who this person is. Derek grinned, then he pointed down the street the way he came. Last I saw him, the mystery visitor was going this direction. Nothing else needed to be said. The three of you were off, Derek leading the way. And I think that's a good place to leave it. Because I don't think we need to see this mystery visitor right away. I think I've done enough reading that we can wait, you know? I've done enough reading. We don't need to see our mystery visitor right away. Do I not have any... Oh wait, it must have it for step 2. Here we go. We're going to finish off on this note. We'll hang out here for our outro. Anyways, I just have to delete some video files as soon as I upload them to myself and edit it all together because my storage was giving out. That's okay. It's a process. Looking forward to uploading this video because I think it's going to be the first one that actually isn't broken completely in audio. I hope, we manifest. That means I'm what I need to do to actually make it. Getting probably my favorite step. Some actual romance and Cove. I do have a crush on Cove. I love him. And this is hurts. Cove is just such a likable guy. I would go on a yap session, but I don't want to. Anyways, bye.